Have I?
I don't think so, no. I think in
Yeah,
solo queue probably like 10 years ago, maybe like 8 years ago, probably.
maybe, yeah, maybe. But I haven't used chat since like season 9, so I'm not sure. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you're better off that
probably
way.
it is the way. Yeah. How
How are you
brother?
doing? Congratulations on your win. Congratulations.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. I don't know what to tell you. I told my coaching staff before the game, if you ban and grind and pick Sion, like they leave Sion open, you first pick Sion, we're going home 3-1. So I mean, it was written in stone. I could not lose.
Yeah, it was a very obvious Cyan angle. And you are very okay. Okay. Before I get into questions, I think you're so good on tanks, by the way. Because I barely noticed it. I don't know. I watch a lot of LPL as well, and Flander for me is like the standout tank player when it comes to just creating space and stuff. I think he's like exceptionally good on it. But to me, like when I think about it, you're like so insane on it. Like whether it's Rennick, who's not really a tank, or like even the Sion games, it's just such a good, just such a good skill to have for top laner.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, so the first question, sorry, I want to ask about the Gakos thing, because to me that's like more interesting than just the games against
I agree with you.
yeah. Okay, so the first time he came in was against this guys, right? And that just felt like, well, it's this guy, so you can kind of do it, and it will probably be, was it Dignitas? Oh,
It was 100 Thieves, I think, actually. It was
no,
100
he was
Thieves first
against
game.
Cars, wasn't it? I think he was against
Oh,
Cars.
it was Castle. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're
And yeah, all good. And that time it just felt like, yeah, he just comes in because, well, it's disguised and you can probably do it against him. That's what it felt like. And then I think you had the interview where you just said, yeah, that one was like kind of rude to put him in there without any prep, because I just assumed he didn't have scrim time, right? And then you said, yeah, the next time he comes on, he will be better prepared. So would you mind elaborating? Like, did he is he prepared enough? Like, what went on?
I think honestly, he missed one timer to move mid. Like in terms of decision making, I think he played a fine game. I don't think there was any issues with it. I think that ultimately, like mid to late game in team fights, like understanding his role in our composition and stuff like that was something that I didn't get to prepare him for that game. I personally, I'm not too happy that we blinded Rumble with him in, because that's something I can do, and I can take that for him, because the matchup he played top was pretty rough, but he came out of the matchup really well. I think against that specific team composition, he was having a really good game, so he went like full flat Magic Pen Rumble build, which is what he prefers. But I actually think if he went Merc Treads into like a very tanky like Jack Show Rumble, he would have been really OP. But that's like something that is super rare nowadays. It's something that people used to do. They went Leandri's Riftmaker Jack Show. I don't know if you remember this. I think against any Aurora, that build would have been insane, but I didn't have the, obviously I can't be on stage, so I didn't have the opportunity to tell him after the draft, like, this is a game for this, because if he goes Merc Treads into Jack Show there, I think he will be like a complete tank, you know? Making so much space and being able to basically make the game easy for everyone else, because our comp was very squishy. With that in mind, basically, I think I haven't been able to prepare him because we didn't really think we were going to use him. Based on the champions that were open, we thought it was a good idea and we could try it. We had the leeway, so we did. At the end of the day, he's going to have to play a few games on stage where he's going to have games exactly like this to understand what it feels like. So I don't know if he's going to obviously play in finals or LTA like in Texas or Worlds or anything like this, but generally speaking, I think for any pro player to get accustomed to playing on stage, even if you are very talented, it will take you at least 5 or 6 games to like find your footing. You know what I mean?
Makes sense. So does he scrim? Does he share scrim time? If you want to say,
he plays one scrim game a day. He plays one scrim game a day every single day. In that game, and what I want him to do in between scrims is basically watch the scrim footage and understand what's going on in the team, understand kind of what our teammates are doing, and ultimately also talk to them and create a bond with them so that he understands what it takes to be a teammate. Because I think that for 19, well, he's actually 17, by the way, which is like, what the fuck? I thought he was 19, like bro is 17. Like it's crazy. I'm pushing 27 in December, so it's like insane for me. But what I'm trying to teach him more than anything is how to be a good teammate. And I'm not always a good teammate, but I think I have some very good habits where I make people comfortable. I make sure people feel like they can play their game. My communication style also helps people focus on their own game and feel comfortable playing their own game. And ultimately, that's more important than me, because I think it's unlikely we will work together for longer than this split. Obviously, at the end of this year, if Likewise does really well again, it's just hard to believe that we're going to have the resources to keep both of us on the same team. So rather than focus on things that any reasonably strong coach will tell him, I focus on how he should be behaving in the team and how he should be opening up conversations with his coaches, which is teammates, how to draft as a player and take responsibility to be in the best position you can be. Because what I told him is, look, if you're looking to get hired next year and the year after that, 3 years from now, what sets a player apart is when he knows what he's really good at. So when I walk up to a team, I tell them, look, you hire me, these are the kind of drafts that I'm going to ask you to play because I'm going to carry in these drafts. If you want me to just, pick Ambessa, Gwen, whatever, blind pick and roll up and play, I can do that. But I'm not going to be that superstar you're hoping for. And that's why I think that so many rookies kind of struggle to distinguish themselves from other players. And finding a way for him to be able to be comfortable in order to have those discussions with the people he's working with and truly excel at what he's great at. Because, for example, both games he went on stage, he blinded Rumble into a matchup that he's not particularly familiar with or good into, and he plays serviceably. But you can't see the best sides of him because he just doesn't have that, like, je ne sais quoi when he's playing the game. You, as a high elo solo queue player,
Yeah.
must know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
of course, yeah.
you know a matchup, when you know your champion, when you know the game, you just find those angles no one else is finding. And that is what I'm trying to help him understand, is that's what's going to get him a real team, and that's going to make him really valuable, is when you practice, and you chose to practice, is to play those characters. Like, he played like 200 Aurelia games over the year, and he said like, I don't want to play Aurelia, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, you have to. If you're an Aurelia player, you have to. You can't just spend 200 games in solo queue and then not want to force an angle for Irelia, because you are so good at this character now. I hope if you played 200 games and you're bad, then go find a new job. That's the idea, basically. And that is where I think I have expertise that other people don't. And that's what I want to help him with. Obviously, you got to strike a balance. Sometimes I'm a bit too vegan and I don't pick the meta matchups enough. But the day I slammed on Bessa Blind, then I think I was I was serviceable.
Yeah, serviceable is a nice way to put it. It's like a bad way to put it, actually, because it was more than that. Okay, that is so interesting. Okay, wait, there's so many questions I want to ask. Okay,
Yeah, go on. Yeah,
so,
take your time.
yeah, okay. Since you watch the games, right, do you also listen to comms when you're not playing? Okay,
Of course.
so basically what we see on the LTA broadcast is just the comms of team fights, and it's basically just, well, the carries being quiet, like completely quiet, and then it's either you or Inspire talking, or like Boost, you're giving like cooldown calls, right? How
Yeah.
does it work when Gakos is in? Like, because you seem to fill like a big role when it comes to comms, right? As you said as well, like you're keeping them calm and stuff and just making space for them, letting them play their game. Like, does it make the game more hectic in a way?
Yeah, I definitely think that it affects people in team fights. I think that that's something that I think when you're playing a tank character, especially, you don't have to focus as hard on mechanics. It's pretty easy to hit Skarner with your skills, so you should probably have a bit more presence in the comms and letting your character, like you're letting the carries know, like Hui use D, Skarner no E, Leona no E, like whatever it is that they need to step up and start DPSing, right? Obviously, that is a hard part because his English is obviously not his main language. He speaks very solid English, just, you know what I mean? Like, when I have a
Yeah,
conversation with him,
of
it's very
course. No, yeah, he comes from US, yeah.
yeah, he's from Turkey. So um, ultimately, that is the next layer. And that's something that he's going to have to learn by playing on a team and like actually being on a team that has muted individuals. You know what I mean? I think for now he has the excuse that he's a rookie. When I was a rookie, for example, in Fnatic, I think my comms during fights were also much more quiet, and I wasn't really speaking much during fights. I would give my condition information, which is something that is required. I'm strong, I want to fight, or I'm weak, I don't have ult, he has ult, whatever, right? These are comms that I'm mandatory for me, and I make sure he does this. But I think team fight communication is also just it's really important that you have that trust with your teammates, because you're obviously taking a lot of space in the most important moments of the game. So your voice has to be clear, and you have to be comfortable basically taking that space, like just in people's brains. Because when I'm actively speaking for my teammates and I'm giving them instructions or I'm giving them feedback as we're playing, it's really important that it's precise. I'm sure in your experience you've played with players that will start talking in team fights and you're just like, what the fuck is this guy saying? You can't be that guy, you know what I mean? And it's better to shut the fuck up and let your carries play than to be yapping. So I prefer him to not focus on it for now, and it's a skill he will learn in the future, I'm sure.
So much sense. You said that there might not be enough resources to keep both of you. Does that mean you are too expensive because your contract runs out, right? Like, does that mean you're too
It
expensive, or
ultimately it's a combination of both, right? I mean, if FlyQuest manages to win the split, go to Worlds, have another quarterfinals performance, it's not just my contract that's increasing in price. Everyone that is going free agent, which are a few people, if I'm not mistaken, I think Busio might be as well. You know, even our
inspire
coaching
this?
staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So my point is just like if FlyQuest manages to give everyone a 100K bonus or 200K bonus, because those numbers are going to be start flying around if we manage to perform this well from an A. Obviously, even European teams are going to start asking questions because, well, Inspired has a green card, but I'm fairly sure he's still not an import in Europe, right? If you have a
No,
green
I don't
card
think it
and you're
works like that. Yeah.
so obviously Europe is going to be knocking on his door, maybe on my door. Nuke Doc, Mithy. I think especially Mithy. I mean, Nuke is great. Very much appreciate our coaching staff, but I've been saying this since last year when C9 fired Mithy halfway through the year. I was begging FlyQuest to hire him because I knew if Booster got to work with him for even half a year, he would be insane. He's worked with him for a year, and he's obviously head and shoulders above the next support. Big credit to Busio for putting in so much effort as well, of course, but cannot understate how important Mithy is for that, in my opinion. Um, Same for Masu. Like I just think our bot lane leveled up so much over the course of the latter end of 2024, thanks to Mithy joining. And in general, it's just hard to believe that people aren't going to get bigger contracts. And at that point, people have to make their own decision. Am I taking a bigger contract? Am I staying with FlyQuest? Because I do think rosters also run out their due. Like I do think there is stress, there is problems. Um, our team manages to lock the fuck in and play, but not all teams can do that, and especially when it comes to Worlds when the stress is really high, that's when people start cracking and their performance gets significantly worse.
Do you think a
And I
team?
think that.
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
Sorry.
Do you think a roster like yours? Let's say you make, I don't know, what's realistic. Let's say like quarters, like maybe semis. I'm not sure, right? Like 5 games against Genji is something, and then like you go back to back these world runs, right? Like, do you think if you can't go further than that, the roster is due for a change, or do you think like on the third year you could maybe crack the code, make it further?
I think ultimately Worlds is a big part as well as meta. Yeah, you got to have a good meta read. You got to have players that play that meta well. Like if you roll up and your mid laner is a bad 80 carry mid player, it's 80 carry mid meta. Fucking blows. You lost. You know,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
go
Yeah.
home. Like same thing is like AP jungle meta. People are running around playing Zyra, Brand, Lilia every game, and your jungler is just some like one trick tank player. Like he plays Maokai, Sejuani, and shit. And you're just like, what the fuck,
Sounds like
Unlucky.
Umti. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, actually, the funny thing about Umti is he was carrying TL all along. It appears because once he left, it was an absolute disaster. So,
I said the
as
exact
much as
same
I love
yesterday. Yeah.
yeah, as much as I loved memeing on him, I mean, respect to that guy. It's really hard. I think he had the hardest job out of any pro player that you can have, which is playing on a team that is not actually voicing and speaking up for you. You know what I mean? Like you play on a team, you're doing most of the heavy lifting when it comes to comms, most of the heavy lifting when it comes to like macro drafts, whatever it is, and then none of your teammates give you any fucking praise. Like, bro, you're just getting railed by everyone because you're like running around trying your best to make sure people aren't inting, and then no one says anything good about you on your team. Like, how the fuck is that even legal, bro? Like, I don't know. When all my teammates, like when I have a jungler like that like really make sure everyone's playing well and whatever, like I make sure he's loved, because I know it's not an easy job, and I really feel like they failed on that aspect. I mean, Spawn said it himself; they had like the worst team environment ever or whatever. But I just feel bad for him now. I was also a hater, but it appears he was carrying hard. So blows.
Yeah. Exactly. A lot. Yeah. Okay. Then. So you've lived in NA for 4 years now, right? 2021.
Correct.
And you've
Yep.
lived in Europe for, well, or in Berlin, let's say, in LEC, what, also 4 years,
4 years.
I think?
Yeah, 2018, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, 4.
4 years. Okay, so the difference is you just grow older. Let's say you get like a reasonable offer from Europe and like a reasonable offer from NA. Which region do you prefer? Like just day-to-day life as well?
Honestly, I think I might like you a bit more. Like, I wanted to distinguish myself, and I felt like if I stayed in Europe, then Caps was always going to be the goat, and I was never going to like get better. But I thought if I went to NA and I'm like the goat in NA, I'm like the best individual player, and I go to Worlds and I have a good performance, then maybe people will say I'm the goat. Because I really wanted to push further. I had ego. I've come to accept that I'm a solid top 5, top 10. Like whatever, put me in top 10, I'm happy. But I had mega ego when I was like coming off my jungle split, I was owning everyone in jungle. I was like, I'm the fucking goat. I can play any role I want. Yeah. Then TL happened and it was a complete disaster. So my plans went to shit. But I've come to appreciate what I have been able to accomplish. I don't have to be the absolute best. Inspired is obviously a better player than I am. Uh, when it comes to like raw, just straight up League of Legends, I think that I make up for my League of Legends by being creative and doing some crazy stuff. But when it comes to like real, like just solid, you blind pick your champ, you carry the game. League of Legends, he's obviously a better player than I am, so I didn't account for that. So I guess I'll just be happy being top 5 in my league, both in NA and in EU, and hopefully that counts for something. I mean, I know it counts for something, so it is what it is. Ultimately, it will depend on my teammates. For me, playing with the right people has always been super important because I can make any player that has talent and has confidence in their own gameplay perform well. But I cannot work with people that have no balls. Like if you're just a vegan and you're just gonna sit there and your coach is just gonna tell you what to do and you're just an NPC, like bro, I will spend so much effort trying to get you to come out of your shell that we're just not gonna click. I think that was a big issue I had in TL. There was too many players that didn't want to, express their personality as individual players, and I couldn't make it work because we were waiting for people to make mistakes, and I can't do that. I don't have that kind of patience. I have learned that lesson. I click on the enemy champions. League of Legends for me is PvP game. I farm to get my item, and when I have my item, I go and find someone and I fucking hit him. If I'm stronger than him, I will go and hit him, and someone will have to come and help him. When I'm playing Sound, I group on midwave because when the enemy's Skarner and Leona are on my screen, I know I'm stronger than them, so that someone needs to come and click on me to stop me from fucking that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I
And then
think that, yeah.
and then we fight, right? That's how it works. They hit me, and then my teammates hit you back, and I'm stronger, so we should win. But
Yeah.
if you are stronger 1v1 and you go side lane and you start fisting that guy, the jungler needs to click on your lane. You did a good job. You are playing the game. You're creating man advantage for someone somewhere else. That's how I think. I was not able to articulate this idea enough. I wasn't able to help my teammates enough for whatever reason. I think a big reason was also that I was an NPC as well. I thought like, Bjergsen, Santorin, Core, they're like the goats of NA. I will just sit back and I will listen to them on how they play the game because they know better in this region, or at least. Yeah, never doing that again. Jesus, like what the fuck? Yeah,
Goat is just a status made up by media. Don't worry. Like,
I have a very good idea of how to play the game. Not to say like that's the thing. If I fully leaned into their strategy of how to play the game, I'm sure it could have worked too. But because I had my own ideas and I was too stubborn, I was half a follower. Not a very good follower. So you can either be a full NPC or you can be your own person. And yeah, that's why it didn't work out. That said, yeah, basically, I want to play with Hilly again. Like, if I go back to Europe, I will obviously investigate what teams want to say. People think he's washed. I guarantee you, me and him will be top 2 in the league. He will be the best or second best support in the league by the end of the split, if not by halfway mark of the split. I have absolute ironclad confidence in that man. He just needs someone that plays the game for him. And when he has someone that plays the game and he doesn't feel the stress, he's the fucking goat, bro. Like he was in UOL for how long? I don't know, like 4 years. He was UOL
three, I think. Yeah, maybe 3 or 4.
years,
Yeah, 3 or something. Yeah.
and everyone thought he was okay. Like it's Hilly, like he does his thing. I played with him for 3 years. He was the best support in the league or second best. Sure, Mickey X was the fucking goat. He was also really good. So fair play. But I believe that he just needs that kind of support. He's one of those players where I think my talents to get him out of his shell is he misses that a lot when he doesn't play with someone that does that for him. And I think I was able to get that out of him. And that's why I would love to, you know, give him some good times as well because I was selfish to leave him. I think I really was. He gave me a lot when I joined the team. It was thanks to him. I think that I was able to perform as well as I did and have as good of a career I did. So I feel bad about having left him in Europe with people that are trying their best but just simply don't know him as well as I do.
Okay, fuck. Okay, so I have to finish. They already gave me like a warning like 3 minutes ago, so I sadly have to finish. I would love to request you. No, don't worry. Don't be sorry, please. Like it was such a nice interview. I would love to request you again. Okay. You play next week on Sunday, right? It's already finals, so I might request you again. Are you fine? Okay, let's say you lose. Are you fine with like if after you lose an interview as well?
Of course, I don't mind. Like for me, there's an opportunity to talk to some of my European fans as well, and some of the people in Germany and whatnot. Your viewers, it's nice. I'm
They
always a
love
bit
you.
more real when it comes to the Europeans because you guys can take it. You guys are not so how do I say it, liberal.
vegan.
So
Yeah.
I speak my there you go. I speak my opinion a bit more, and I really enjoyed this. Thank you very much. Sorry for chatting for 80% of it, but 90 probably.
No, they can't
But
stand my voice anyway anymore. Don't worry. They do appreciate the
thank
exchange.
you.
Thank you very much. I will request you again. Have a great night. GG's again. Thank you very
Likewise,
much.
brother. Take care.
Take
Take care.
care. See ya.